And Zexy, you mentioned that you wanted to see more emphasis being placed onto Wolves in that, potentially seeing Dr. L hang around a little bit more, helping out delnyy secure some of that early farm to put him in the lead. But do you think that that could potentially backfire if Dr. L were to look at that side of the map? Because Astral Authority, they're not a team that's foreign to early objective calls.
Yeah, I do, and that's what I said. They need to really prioritize early warding on the Gold Fury side of the map, dual lane side of the map, because it'll not only spot out those Gold Fury calls, but the dual lane rotations, and they just need to kind of shade to that side of the map a little bit, because it's apparent that Astral's going to do whatever they need to do to get Checo behind, whether that be diving his tower from behind at 5 minutes, which there's nothing he can do about that. So, I mean, it's just there needs to be, they need to realize, okay, Checo's playing hot right now. We need to try and get him fed, or just at least try and get him, to where he's able to safely farm or safely take a boxing engagement and try and get a little bit ahead. And
as a Hunter player who was camped so heavily, what do you think? There's got to be a little bit of a tilt aspect coming through after that, isn't there?
Yeah, it's definitely frustrating getting camped, because you're wanting to box, you're wanting to fight, but you know that you don't know, you might not know where they are. You just flat out know they're there. So you're like, all right, well, I can't fight this, guys. Can we rotate over here? I think they need to spend a lot more time, grouped as three when Dr. L's not in solo lane, grouped as three, rotating towards Checo's side of the map.
And, well, Checo, we know that he can play the standard bi-meta hunters, as well as we know that he has a whole arsenal of off-meta picks, but could we potentially see Checo opting for something that's unconventional but provides survivability?
At this time, I would expect it, because they're down 1-2. This is going to be their elimination game from here on out. And Dr. L, after giving that interview yesterday, he was talking about just how diverse their strategies and god pools really are. Well, today, I'm not really seeing the same Elevate that I saw yesterday.
There hasn't been a whole ton of, I'd say, flexibility from Elevate today in comparison to their set yesterday, considering how much more willing they were to try and spread those god pools just to ensure that they could have a better opportunity in the long run. But heading into game number 4 is picks and bans. Possibly here we could see that same spicy Elevate from yesterday.
Do or die. And so far, the reoccurring theme is the first pick team has been winning, and all of these picks have been Zeus on their side.
100%. And I know that I would probably prefer to see whoever isn't first pick just opting to take it away. But the issue here is if you're not first pick, there's still Scotty, there's still Cabrakan. Elevate luckily went ahead and decided we don't want to deal with Susano no matter what. But it's just so many strong early game picks.
Yeah, and there's just so many, it's kind of like pick your poison here with picks and bans, and that's been the story of the whole LAN. What do we, what can we give up? What can we deal with? It's going to be something. They're going to get something, a top priority pick, but can we deal with that? Can we draft around that priority pick to make it less effective?
And immediately Elevate defaulting to the Cabrakan. They just want this god every single time it's available. But Astral Authority, very smart response with the Khepri and Zeus. How do you feel about this one, Zaxi?
Zeus, he's winning games, so I like the Zeus pick. The Khepri Zeus has been strong also. I do like the Cabrakan here for Elevate. They are, I would expect him to just run a straight dive comp like they did before. And if they do have pressure in the mid lane, it would be really good for Checo, because as you saw, when you leave Checo alone, let him farm. If he finds a 1v1, he can really snowball it.
Oboronic needs to find ways to really follow up if that is going to be Cabrakan for Dr. L for Elevate. We haven't seen too much out of him so far this set, with the exception of him playing that one Zeus game, but he needs to be able to really find his footing. But locking in the Vulcan here is not a bad idea, considering whenever that Cabrakan uses that wall, it's an easy target for the ultimate and the meatballs.
Well, one really refreshing part about Elevate's playstyle is they enjoy playing around the objectives, and that's probably what a lot of teams tend to lose sight of in the long run. You focus on the kills, and it's really easy to get tunnel visioned into that mindset of if we get the kills, then we're winning the game. But objectives are really what it all boils down to.
And you talk about playing around the objectives here for Astral Authority. They got Zeus and Ymir, which is a pretty good objective secure in its own right. So Astral Authority really prioritizes the objectives also. And, Zeus, Ymir, some of the best, with their ultimates, some of the best secure in the game. So interesting to see how that'll play out, if we can get a cheeky Vulcan ult for a steal or however that's going to happen.
Bologna banned away from Astral Authority. So now a second time in a row that delnyy is going to have to dwell away from from his staple pick. Could see a potential Vamana yet again, depending on what Astral Authority elect to ban away.
But you can't really diverge attention from this incredible front line that Astral Authority have drafted for themselves, the Khepri and the Ymir. However, there's also the consideration that Cabrakan's pretty great at locking down gods that aren't exactly the most mobile.
Yeah, and Khepri, like I said, if the Zeus, if they're unable to go on the Zeus, Khepri is always a good target, for the Cabrakan walls, force his ultimate on himself. If they know in an engagement that Khepri ult's been used on himself, they're just going to, dive the Zeus till the cows come home. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them look to go on Brochacho early if Coviii's positioning is so good to the point that it's going to be hard to go on him. I wouldn't be surprised to see them prioritize taking out Brochacho.
And what do you feel would best help Astral Authority as far as the jungle role is concerned?
In the jungle, there's a lot of options still available. Thorn, Ratatoskr, these global gods can easily dive the backline. You have the Khepri to be able to bail them out, or you can just have the Thor just straight up walk up to you, stun you out, set up the Zeus and the Ymir. You have walls on walls with Thor and Ymir, which could shut down this Medusa and the Vulcan. They can't really jump over that.
But you have to keep in mind, Transonics, again, choosing to run the Coviiii. Are we expecting to see Checo on that on? Or not, I guess it can't be Checo on the honor, considering the Medusa pick has already happened. But do you imagine that it could potentially be Elevate trying to run a more aggressive jungler to try and assist Checo better in that duo lane?
Yeah. I mean, Elevate, I wouldn't be surprised if Elevate picked unless the Cabrakan's jungle, if the Cabrakan's jungle, I understand that, but if that is a Cabrakan solo, I would expect to see a global jungler here from Elevate to try and put some early pressure around the map.
And do you think it was smart by Astral Authority to hold off their jungle pick until they saw the full draft from Elevate?
Yeah, it's not a uncommon thing to do, especially with how many viable junglers there are right now. Astral will do that a lot of times. They'll wait to pick their jungler later, if they don't want something, priority pick, and they'll just pick. Okay, I like this jungler versus this comp. Okay, let's get that.
Well, we spoke about Astral Authority's front line, but Vamana, Xing, and Cabrakan is certainly intimidating enough. But with the Nemesis coming through for Astral Authority, I mean, that's probably the perfect god for taking care of a tanky front line.
That's one line you can deal with the Cabrakan for Dr. L. So Astral Authority, KhaoticPurpose, loves to play aggressive, and he's definitely going to be looking to do so, followed up by Zeus on Coviiii.
And now we see all of the picks that have been locked away on both sides. Zaxi, is this the end of Team Elevate?
I think it is, man. They got the Zeus. They last picked the Nemesis is great into Elevate's comp. I'm going with Astral.
I got to give it to Astral. I gave it to them the last game. I'm going to keep on rolling with the double A's.
All right, well, it looks like we're actually all three in unison for once here on the desk. But now it's time to see what Aggro and FDOT have to say as we head into game number 4.
Well, as Elevate fight to keep themselves alive in this final. This is the must-win game for Elevate. It's a really good thing they banned out the Zeus. I think that's the only way that they can win.
FDOT, the Zeus is locked in, actually. They didn't ban Zeus. They banned Odin and Susano. They picked Cabrakan first. And then on the backside, Astral Authority locked in Khepri and Zeus there, mid lane. Just so you know, Zeus is in the game.
So Elevate just don't.
I mean, I get it, right? Because Wolves has been dominant all weekend long on Odin. Susano is like the top pick, top ban right now. No. But I don't disagree with you. Coviiii on Zeus, he's looked like a different player than he has on every other character. The Hebo, yeah, that didn't exactly work out earlier this set. But even when he played Isis, a god that he looked very comfortable on online, did not look as nearly as good on LAN as he has with this Zeus. I agree with you. I would have either first picked the Zeus to take it away from him, or banned it. I'm very surprised that Elevate let it through.
Listen, man, jokes aside, Elevate really could. It's not a coincidence that the only game Elevate have won so far against Astral was when Coviiii was not on the Zeus. And sure, like you mentioned, Hebo is probably the worst god right now, arguably in the entire game to play. I'd rather see an Anubis to give or take. But at the end of the day,
I don't know about that.
At the end of the day, Elevate win the game where Coviiii doesn't play the Z-Man.
Yes.
I think that this is a mistake is the lightest word I can find. I think this is an egregious just misplay, and I think if a game was ever lost in picks and bans, it's right here where they let Coviiii have his Zeus.
I mean, we have seen times where a team gets, you know, Scotty, Cabrakan, Zeus, things like that, where you're like, well, how does that happen? And that's a game that you can lose in picks and bans. This game isn't necessarily over off the drafts. I just think that it was an error. I agree with you in that sense of letting Coviiii pilot this mage in the mid lane once more.
Actually,
especially with oBoronic on Vulcan. Yes, oBoronic's Vulcan is really, really good. It's just that Vulcan does so little for so long that it's hard to justify that pick. I mean, he was hitting people with Vulcan ultimates at the 18-minute mark, 20-minute mark last game, or game 1 when he played this, and hitting them for like 20% of their health. That's just not enough to warrant this pick right now.
I'm very unhappy in what seems to be a large mistake in the picks and ban phase for Elevate for what could be a fantastic team, but at the same time, it's just P's and B's. We'll see what happens on the battlefield. Dr. L and delnyy in that short lane trying to deal with that nonsense, but Brochacho takes down Kenshin. It's all about the supports early on.
And I could hear him from there screaming, "What are you doing in the mid lane? What is Kenshin doing in that scenario?" Luckily for Elevate, the first blood does go over to Brochacho on the support instead of for Coviiii in the mid lane, but that's still not a good look. Kenshin got abused in game 1, and taking an early death like this could spell another game like that here in game 4.
Eesh. Early first blood puts Elevate down nice and early. MichaelCheco on this Medusa. Another team fight dominant character for the rookie that's looked so good this LAN. If Elevate does have a positive in their draft phase, that's it. They're enabling MichaelCheco to still run things. Whether or not that happens, like I said, different story, but I think that is a positive, the fact that MichaelCheco does have Medusa at his disposal.
I agree with you there. Medusa definitely one of the higher performing hunters, all spring split long, and so giving a player that's hot right now, a character like this that can win their laning phase and then come in and make a big team fight impact. Love this idea. But Transonics, again, on this Coviiii, has looked very, very comfortable at it in the team fighting phase. Now, last game, he did get soloed on this Coviiii due to a misplay with his ultimate placement. But either way, he's looked comfortable enough to warrant giving him the pick again.
And at the end of the day, it's usually about the team fights. You can get soloed in lane once or twice, and it'll hurt your ego. But Transonics' ego is much happier with the W than the individual L. The team W always more important here. And that's what Astral Authority looked to fight for. 4 men strong on the right side. Go ahead and confirm the goblins, and not going to be too bothered by Elevate's presence.
And it's just Wolves again with a lead in that solo lane. delnyy on the Vamana. That's the only time they won a game, but I don't know if it was because of his performance.
There's an ultimate from the Nemesis on top of Dr. L. Coviiii brings him down nice and early. Brochacho relatively low, taking some shots from oBoronic, but it's just not enough. 2 kills for Astral.
And again, it's Dr. L falling pretty far behind. This right side for Elevate has really struggled all series long up against Astral Authority.
Yeah, I mean, this one is early for Astral. Elevate can certainly wrestle it back, and they do have some late game prowess, so keep that in mind. 4 minutes so far, and already 1,000 gold in the lead is Astral.
And that's extra good if you're looking at that Nemesis in the jungle, not getting a kill in that scenario, but an assist in the mid lane and knocking down the farm of Dr. L in that jungle. Nemesis was a beautiful last pick here in this scenario. And that's the thing that's impressed me most, I think, from Astral Authority this weekend is their picks and bans. They've been very, very solid in terms of not only what their draft wants to do, but what the enemy wants to do with their draft and how they can counteract that with their own. Been very impressed with that phase of Astral's game.
And again, you got to give credit to Brochacho is the in-game leader, but Matt Coy is recently coming on as a coach, formerly a player here in the Smite Console League, now making himself known behind the players and still certainly making an impact.
Without a doubt. I mean, he was, we were talking about one of their drafts yesterday up against Soar where it was the Chang'e pick into the Hell mid, and Coy was saying, that was all me, and that was a beautiful pick, and it ended up basically winning them that game because of how well Coviiii played it. That was the thing. I knew there was a guy that Coviiii looked good on this weekend that wasn't Zeus, and it was Chang'e, but Chang'e is a character that is a lot more easily punished than that of Zeus.
Right. It's just very curious to me. So basically what happened was Elevate said, we'll just build very tanky characters against the Zeus. We'll put Dr. L and a Cabrakan, a character that can deal with the damage from Zeus, and delnyy on the Vamana, etc. Kenshin on a tanky character, obviously, is support, but Look at this wraparound from Astral. MichaelCheco in trouble, runs away from KhaoticPurpose, runs into Coviiii. There's the rainstorm, and there's the kill. Coviiii takes out MichaelCheco. Not done yet. Dr. L's in trouble. Couple of basics and some slows. KhaoticPurpose still looking for the slice of dice. Gets him, cut him down.
Transonics not going to be able to find the stun onto oBoronic, but it doesn't matter. 2 dead once more for Elevate. Beautiful positioning from Coviiii. He waits for the rest of his team to force Checo into the jungle, and there he is waiting for him with that lightning storm. Great positioning out of the mage.
Oh, KhaoticPurpose goes a little bit too deep onto the mid lane Vulcan. Bad leash coming out from the guys on Astral. Still should give them the Gold Fury despite it being a little bit sloppy. 6:20 on the clock, 4 to zip are the kills, and Astral Authority, after a quick team fight and an objective, find themselves sitting pretty, 3K up.
This is a team that's just feeling themselves right now. Astral Authority is definitely brimming with confidence. I walked past Brochacho on the way to the bathroom between games, and I said, how many more games am I casting today? And he just glared at me for even daring to ask him the question.
How dare you?
Come on, Papo.
Exactly. I love these guys here. I like the Elevate guys too as well, and I think this is one of the fun parts about coming to LAN and this sort of thing. Listen, I know Astral Authority. At least Brochacho I've known for, 3-4 years being in Smite. Before I started making content for Smite, I knew Brochacho. And then Transonics, since the console scene started, these guys have been around. Dr. L gonna hang around the mid lane. KhaoticPurpose following suit. Kenshin gets grabbed one more time. KP is stuck in the spin cycle, but Coviiii makes it rain and puts down Kenshin.
Kenshin just not having a solid game thus far.
Where'd you come
Teleported
from?
from Wolves, and he's going to make oBoronic pay. What do you do against that?
There wasn't even a purpose for that kill. Wolf just showed up and said, you know what? I think oBoronic should die right now. TP, boom, you're done.
You're right. There's nothing to take. Gold Fury's down. Red buff is done. Purple buff's on cooldown. That was just Wolves saying, screw you, man. I'm just going to make you know that I get to kill you anytime I want.
Wolf's just like, look, man, I want to kill. My turn. He takes the kill, and guess what? He's still ahead of delnyy.
Because of how much that pressure they've had on that right-hand side consistently, that's exactly right. But he's allowed to make these aggressive teleports in to try and find kills like that because he can afford to give up so much farm on that right-hand side. And look what he went for. After the Mark of the Vanguard and Boots completion, Sands of Time, more CDR, after a Breastplate of Valor, that's going to put him to 30% in total, as well as just a little bit of extra power. He also doesn't need the mana buff as much because of that passive from Sands of Time, which can allow him to rotate even more, not worry about securing his own buff.
Look at him just avoid the boomerang out of the Vamana as well. The small stuff, a lot of fun for me to watch, and I really enjoyed taking it all in. KhaoticPurpose here as well. delnyy gets frozen, carpeted. He's going to get hit by the cuts. And the ultimate forced out, but Brochacho's here as well. delnyy stunner steps. He realizes there's so many players. Perfect wall. Players and layers to it. KhaoticPurpose going to take him out. Shouts to his old name. Wolves with the credit for the kill. 2-0-0. The solo lane assassin.
And look at the wards, or really lack thereof, on the right side. Coviiii taking a lot of damage from Dr. L, but he almost turns it around all by himself. KP shows up and is able to clean that one up. oBoronic couldn't quite find that ultimate. The tick damage from Kenshin's Furious Roar, almost enough, but not quite. Coviiii gonna be able to back to base. Still with a clean KD.
Hunter v. Hunter. MichaelCheco taking a couple of shots. Transonics in the wave, but looks like they're not gonna take the fight just yet. Transonics still wants it. Basics in the air, looking at each other. Still, here comes the wave. And Transonics and MichaelCheco left alone in this lane.
And look at the ward coverage. That's what I was about to talk about before that mid lane engagement. There's 3-4 wards on the map right now for Elevate, and one of them is on their back harpies, I believe. I mean, there's not a lot of ward coverage in this scenario. And so delnyy is just a sitting duck on that right-hand side, as is oBoronic. There's one defensive ward, and that's on the bottom left-hand side. Astral know they've got ward coverage on that bottom right because of their sentry ward.
It's a sentry, yeah.
That's an easy gank opportunity on oBoronic.
So right now, the Fire Giant spawning. Astral, 8 kills to 0. Troublesome stuff for the Mountaineers on the left side of your screen, 24-6. Astral's 29-7 this early in the game. That is a very scary sight.
So Portal Demon gonna get the focus down by Astral Authority. They've got this such big of a lead that they want Elevate to come in and try and fight them. There's the abduct onto delnyy, already falling very low. Wolves doesn't have the wall ready to go, and so delny's gonna be able to escape towards his mid lane.
That's still a win. It's an ultimate for nothing.
Yeah, absolutely.
For nothing.
delny's only level 11. He doesn't even have a second relic, doesn't have a meditation to try and heal himself back up. There's the ultimate out of KhaoticPurpose after the freeze from Wolves. delnyy very, very low, picks up the speed, but he's walking right into Coviiii, who finds the kill.
Basic attack puts down the solo laner. Spin cycle tosses Wolves away from his target, which was Dr. L. Well played. MichaelCheco waits out the rainstorm, now finds safety underneath the tower. Safety for now, as he's frozen, ages out the damage, but that's the end of his safety, and down he goes! He's on a rampage, it's Coviiii, 5 in a row without a death.
10-0, and here comes Transonics out of the left side, gonna find the sun onto Dr. L, one more auto, who needs that? He's gonna Goomba stomp him down instead.
We talk about it all the time, Transonics has assassin-like pathing. There you go. Cut him down. One in the back, one in the front. 2 kills for Transonics. 12 in total for Astral.
Now he's in a bit of trouble though. delny's teleported back in, but Transonics goes up and down because he trusts Chach to find him with that Scarab's Blessing. Still a big old goose egg right now for Elevate.
And Coviiii puts Bad Luck 13 on the board, but it's all good luck for Astral Authority. KhaoticPurpose takes him down. Coviii's gonna let delnyy know everything he's thinking right there. And after that, the stuff after the stuff. Gold Fury is in the targets of Astral Authority. And, you know, I said it before, Aggro, but this is the most authoritative that AA has looked all weekend.
I said it to you right after game 2. We talked about the set coming in. I think we both predicted a 3-1 victory for Astral. I looked at you after game 2 and said, that's Elevate's 1.
Yeah.
You get 1 against this team, because you better outdraft them heavily if you want to win in the later stages, and that just did not happen here. You're right. Coviiii, what do you know? They don't ban away the Zeus. My man is 6-0-5 at 12 minutes.
I'm upset because I think that Elevate is a stronger team than this, and their strength is in their identity. Eager trusts their identity. They're weird, and that's okay. Elevate go off when they play the oddball stuff, and it's not because they're surprising their opponent. Why don't we see more of that?
I agree with you. We hear all the time about Elevate's cheese strats, their Alkwang ADC, their Hell ADC, all this kind of stuff.
Play it!
Where is it? Where
this
is it?
Finals!
Yeah, and they try and continue to go back to standard stuff where they're good, but the game that they shouldn't have won, they win because of their unique strategies up against Obey. That's what gets them here.
Listen, man, delnyy like to define his 4th death. He's in trouble there, and that's just gross. delnyy dying there, that's just gross. Mid laners get in trouble all the time. I love Lunchables. That's my aggro.
I was doing my U with the wall.
I know, that's why I did my aggro.
Oh, okay. It was like a little.
You like that one? Little swap-a-doodle-doo?
That's right.
It's like I'm playing the Morrigan and I'm picking aggro.
Wolves is just in the enemy back harpies for no reason. Because he's Wolves.
I mean, it's like the teleport on the left side. I still love that kill on oBoronic. There was no reason for it. It was just, I bet the comms went, hey, betcha I can kill Boronic.
Coviiii might actually be the first casualty, except for
Aegis.
a nice Aegis there. Exactly, immunes that Earthshaker. Boronic's now in trouble. Tommy, if you've heard that one before. Petrify coming out of Checo, but he gets chunked down by that detonate.
Dr. L trying to ground pound, but Coviii's dealing the damage. Does he have the detonate? Doesn't matter. Brochacho gets one, and his lane partner gets the next. Boronic falls to the wayside.
Transonics coming around the back, but I don't know if he's ever going to be needed. KhaoticPurpose notches number 19. There, it's Astral Authority diving the
They have
Phoenix.
19 kills. That's over a kill a minute, folks. Out of control. 12,000 gold in the lead. Scratch that. Add another 1,000 on top as the tier 2 mid tower falls down at 1438. That's 13 grand that Astral are walking away with.
Almost 1,000 gold per minute
Incredible.
in the lead right now.
Incredible.
Astral Authority has taken almost 1,000 gold more than Elevate per minute at this stage of the game. This is a brutal performance coming out of Astral. They just look absolutely dominant. And to be honest with you, I just don't know what to, if you're in Elevate shoes here, this is just one of those moments where you're like, well,
Elevate.
It was a good spring split.
Elevate know this is a best of 5, not a best of 7, right?
I would hope so. Otherwise, they're going to get a rude message from Vinny once they take their headsets off.
I feel like game number 3 was the game that we need to see the oddball stuff out of Elevate. If you let Astral take the 3rd game, they're going to take the 4th game in the series.
In a way, yes, but you have to keep in mind that Elevate was also coming off a pretty good victory in Game 2 where they played Standard. So they think maybe they can get another win Standard and then go to their pocket strats if necessary. I always come back to it. What's the point of developing these oddball strategies that are your pocket strats if you don't use them when you need them?
Exactly. 15 minutes on the clock, make that 16. Fire Giant, Astral. You know what? Let's listen in. Let's see how much fun Astral Authority's having right now. Well, MichaelCheco's still here, looking for it. And Veronic's in trouble. He's going to launch out his ultimate. Frozen. He's gone. He'll get hit like DeRozan. He's a Toronto Raptors player.
That he is. Oboronic, though, going to be sitting on the bench, unlike DeRozan, who is a starter. 20-0 now. Astral Authority just continues to bait people in. Checo comes in to check how low the Fire Giant is, and no one's even on it. 21 now for Astral Authority. And one by one, Elevate just come marching in to death.
And Kenshin's going to fall. PS Transonics getting the solo kill on the other side of the map. Dr. L, ain't no prescription to save you here, buddy. 1-on-4 as Astral walk down the mid lane. Dr. L jumping, knowing that's all he can really do. Veronic's here as well, but the Phoenix likely to fall here in this push.
Transonics is on that right-hand side, so not a lot of tower damage. Phoenix going to stay alive for a pretty decent amount of time, and now Astral Authority realize they may not be able to get that so easily, but Trans is going to be able to pick up that tier 2 on the right in exchange.
Sometimes it just looks easy. What the crazy part about this is that this isn't easy. Elevate is a strong team. I firmly believe that they belong in the finals. I have personally casted, in my 2.5, 3 years of casting Smite, some series where the one team doesn't belong in the series. That is not the case for Elevate here. They are getting obliterated by Astral, and Elevate is absolutely the number 2 team out of the spring split, in my opinion.
I mean, their set with Obey was very, very close. I think a lot of people still expected Obey to come here and play in this final. But you're right, Elevate earned their spot here this weekend in this final. They outplayed Obey in those games. Obey, the one that I always come back to in that set, and I think I will for a long time, is Game 3, where Elevate is playing the Ao Kuang ADC.
Yep.
Obey has a 15K gold lead.
And they lose it.
And they end up losing it because of the late game pressure brought to them by Elevate's draft, as well as a bevy of mistakes on both sides, if we're being fair.
Yeah.
But either way, Elevate earned their right to come here and play Astral Authority, but Astral doesn't really care if they earned it or not.
But look at that. Look at that. 15,000 gold deficit they win with an Ao Kuang Hunter. Having that oddball strategy is the identity of Elevate. You have to embrace that and understand what you're going to do. As MichaelCheco embraces death and thinks about what he's going to do after Astral continue to have their way with him and his team.
Wolves with another perfect wall. Oboronic locked in. He doesn't even have an Aegis yet. Wolves, stop. This man has a family, dude.
Dr. L, he's just taking it. KhaoticPurpose might be the first one to fall here. Wolves has been tanking the tower for a solid 7 seconds right there. Not a care in the world.
And why would he? He's level 18 right now. He's gotten almost a level a minute. delnyy trying to get some much needed gold for his team on the right. But 500 is not enough to really put even a dent
Elevate
into an 18K lead.
They got a tower. They got a tower. Give it to him in this final game of the series. Honestly, 26-0. 30 seconds away from the old 20-minute mark. And Elevate are trailing by almost 20 grand here. This is, listen, man, sometimes you get a win, sometimes you get a stop. Astral Authority are making a statement. They could have just collected these kills and then casually. They are making a statement by finding the overkill in these scenarios.
I agree with you. These are dudes who want to make sure that everyone knows whenever Summer Split comes around who the top dog is. And there's not going to be a question in anybody's mind who the top seed coming into the Summer Split is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's been So for those of you that don't know, here at LAN, you must play 20 minutes of a game before you can surrender. At 20 minutes and 1 second, we saw the surrender come out. Elevate knew the writing was on the wall. Congratulations to Elevate, the underdog here. Not expected to make finals. Honestly, put on a fantastic performance for us this weekend. But at the end of the day, The #1 seed reigns supreme. It's Astral Authority, your spring split winners.
And look at them. They don't even look like this was unexpected. This was business as usual for these guys. That's saying a lot considering, like we mentioned, not a lot of these guys have had success on these LAN stages. Only Wolves and Transonics have those LAN victories under their belts. But these guys, this is what they came here to do. They executed to near perfection and looked like the most dominant team on console without a doubt in anybody's mind.
Transonics and Bro Chacho, the jungler KhaoticPurpose, as well as the rest of the team, and Matt Coy's coming together to just create a fantastic series for them and their fans.
Yeah.
Game 1, Game 2 was a little bit of a struggle, but then Game 3 happened, and then, well, Game 4. Game 4. Game 4. That's my official analysis. Just incredible shutdown coming out from AA right there. I don't think that Elevate could have made a comeback from 4 minutes in.
No, that game was over. That game, again, it goes back to picks and bans there. I agree with you. The game was over as soon as Coviiii got Zeus.
Z-Man, dude.
You just cannot give him the Z-Man Senior. He's just too strong on it. Either way, you lose pressure in that mid lane. You pick a low pressure mid laner like Vulcan into that Zeus specifically, and all across the map, KhaoticPurpose getting an early kill, Kenshin suiciding in mid early on. It all just started that little trickle that then the drain blew wide open, and it was all Astral Authority from there on out.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, what are you gonna do? Like, how do you deal with that? I think Elevate getting out of that situation was a good look, and at the end of the day, I think if you're a fan of Elevate or on the team themselves, you actually have to be proud of yourself at how far the team came.
Without a doubt.
I don't think, like you mentioned before, they weren't supposed to beat Obey, and they did.
Exactly, and this is a team that really struggled. Remember, this was the 5th seed from the online phase. They still have to play relegations. Like they were near the bottom of the league, and so this team has a lot to be proud of. You can tell how much they've worked since the beginning of that split to now. Checo had a phenomenal performance for his first play at LAN. That's exciting. delnyy looked better as far as what he did last season coming to LAN. There's a lot to look forward to for Elevate. Just today, Astral was the better team.
Listen, I think if I had been casting that game with a different team across the way, I might have pulled out the phrase "should be embarrassed." I don't think that Elevate should be embarrassed about that one. It kind of hurts to get stomped that hard, but again, this is a team on the up and up. This is one of the first LANs for MichaelCheco, and for the 5th seed to make a performance like they did, got to give them a round of applause. Ultimately, Astral Authority are your spring split winners, and they do so in devastating fashion. We'll take it to the desk to dive even deeper.
Thanks so much, Tom. And yes, indeed, Astral Authority securing the spring split winnings. And I mean, I'm sure that they are more than happy with their performance, especially after that final game.
They didn't die. No deaths at all in game number 4. Like, what team goes into a finals, especially, elimination game, just not dying?
I mean, no disrespect in the slightest to Team Elevate, despite how game number 4 did not go even the slightest bit in their favor. I still believe that Elevate definitely came out and showed everybody that they are still a force to be reckoned with. They are definitely a strong team. They were able to secure a game off of Astral Authority despite everything else. And overall, I think that it was just an excellent set between the two.
You got to give credit to where credit is due. They did defeat Obey Alliance 3-1 yesterday in those semifinals, the world defending champions. That's no easy task to do. So the fact that they even got to the finals here kind of surprised me, and as well as probably a lot of other people in the console world.
Yeah, I mean, coming into this event, if you'd have told me Elevate was in the finals, I probably would have said, I don't know about that. But I mean, they really showed up at LAN. They played great. They got nothing to be ashamed of, and they played really well the whole way through.
Ultimately, it just falls back to the drafting phase, I would say, in particular. Coviiii on that Zeus, absolute beasting it out there. And I mean, it just seemed like there was no way for him to be shut down.
No, not at all. Zeus was 100% win rate, at least in this set. And this is the first time in this set that the Chaos side actually won. Cabrakan was first picked by Elevate, but a nice counter pick by Astral Authority. The Nemesis, a last pick for KhaoticPurpose, did work for him.
Yeah, and you talk about the mini metas that develop, within a matchup between certain teams. Zeus just dominated this mini meta, and in the last game there, like I said, they'll sometimes save that jungler pick for last. The Nemesis pick was great into Elevate's composition.
It just didn't seem that the Vulcan could bring the same kind of oomph that Coviiii did on the Zeus at all.
He had so much early progression, especially since around that 5-minute mark, he was able to secure an early 2 kills due to the rotation that he made into that dual lane side, knocking out Checo and just completely rolling over Elevate in that last one. His positioning absolutely on point, but you also have to credit the rest of Astral Authority for helping him be able to make the plays.
Absolutely. This team is just one great cohesive unit, winning the last game just in such a dominating fashion, and they all are just have so much synergy together. You know, despite this roster having some shakeups, not playing together in Season 3 beforehand, coming into Season 4, my guys are just looking so strong here.
And it is actually going to be Astral Authority once again securing the finals for this SEL Spring Split. And you could see their opposition the whole way through. They had to face off in Sword Gaming. Sorry, Zaxi, but they did take the 3-0 over Sword Gaming. They defeated, or they made sure that they also defeated Elevate, and overall just an absolutely fun weekend.
Fun weekend for everybody involved. You know, here is going to wrap up the Spring Split Finals with Astral Authority over Elevate, but I'm sure there's a lot of things that the team has to say.
There's definitely a lot of things for the team to say, but I also just want to take a moment to give you guys a quick reminder that we do have the 2x Worshippers event still going on for this weekend. So make sure that after watching today's games, you get home and play, because a whole ton of excitement awaits after the momentum from this LAN victory. You can pick up some fantasy points for yourself.
You ready for some fantasy points, Zaxi?
I'm all about the fantasy paints, baby.
Let's get them.
Plenty of booster packs that we could toss in alongside there. But all of this aside, we do have Astral Authority standing by now with FDOT to talk about how they're feeling after this weekend.
First and foremost, congratulations, Mr. Brochacho.
Thank you so much.
It's been a long time coming. You guys have put in a lot of work, and in fact, that's where we'll start it. What kind of work did you guys put into preparation for this LAN? Because you guys look like you did a ton of it.
Our preparation, a lot goes into our drafts. When we scrim online, if we lose in a scrim, it's a learning experience. We take it that way. Those were actually our scrim partners going into this. Game 2, they kind of threw us a little off guard with a couple of things they picked, and then our engagements a couple times were a little bit off. But I don't know. We just take it. We literally take it like a sport, because not only me, but I have a couple guys on the team that want to take it as a sport. When we're in practice, we're in the zone, take it like it's a real game, you know?
I mean, it absolutely shows. One of the nice things that I really like about our setup here is that we can dive right into your communication process and really understand what's going on there. The biggest thing that I take away from this is that you guys are loud, boisterous, y'all love having fun. But when you're on the battlefield, it's cool, calm, and collected, and there's a couple of voices there, but everybody's in line. How did you really manufacture that culture?
When this team was designed, I kind of was already looking at like Epsilon when they formed. If you look at their team, they picked Raffer got guys that were all bought into the same philosophy. You're all on one strategy, all working together. These guys all buy into whatever comp we're running, whether it be a Merc ADC, whether it be a Nemesis in the second half, or whether it be a Loki. We're running a comp around it. We're not going to just pick it just to pick it.
One of the nice things about your squad as well is that you have multiple win conditions. Sure, KP can go off and just carry things on a wheelish, but I think Coviiii did a lot of that heavy carrying. This is one of his first LANs. What's it like having that dynamic on the squad?
He's our not only LAN rookie, but our online rookie. Coviiii played with Kingdom for a little bit, but that's not really nothing against Kingdom. I'm sorry. That's not real experience. Now he's with a real team. I'm just proud as hell, man. He whipped out Chang'e. That's a lot of people criticizing that mid. He makes it work mid every time. His Zeus was phenomenal, and it also denied oBoronic from getting the Zeus. That's the main reason why we drafted Khepri too, because it denies Kenshin from getting Khepri.
Yeah, Kenshin had a fantastic time on that Khepri, and Zeus was a major thorn in the side of what Elevate could do. They obviously won a game there, bringing it up even in game number 2. Talk to me about what are the struggles that Elevate present to you and your team.
Their team fight sometimes. We had a couple, I think it was 3 engagements. There was one around Fire Giant that I derped in and ulted no one. That was a bad engagement. And we also had a bad engagement that we went all in on Checo around their purple buff. He jumps, he gets a good Aegis off, jumps over the wall, gets double meted by his support in his jungle. Now that's a horrible engagement for us, and that literally turned the fight for them a couple times. So
you've got the rookie Coviiii, but you mentioned MichaelCheco. I really want to get your opinion playing against that guy. He seems dynamic, almost winning the second game by himself. What's it like playing against a rookie like MichaelCheco?
Well, when you're a good team, you spot out their best player. We knew that was our best player, and we made it known.
Yeah, we saw that.
We were literally I'm gonna say it. We were shit talking him the whole game, and it's something that we expected to do because that's their carry, not only on the field but his vocal carry. When he's popping off, he's yelling at you on the other side, so we didn't even want to hear his voice the whole game.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are known to be loud. Even Wolves, who's not known for that, we heard him out of that.
Oh, yeah.
How does that sort of come into what you guys do as Astral Authority?
when you're comfortable with your homies, you're gonna get loud. You probably know that firsthand. We've been hanging around the 6, going to eat together, hanging out at the hotel together, doing VOD review together. Yeah, taking a lot of Matty Pockets together. We'll keep that as like a, you know, little inside joke. But the point is, we stay together at all times, man. There's fat Matties together, bro.
That's what it's all about. Some tiny boys, but still coming on through. And we've spoken a lot about KhaoticPurpose and a lot about Coviiii and the whole team. But really what it comes down to is that no team is really safe or sound without their support. And the finals MVP is going to go to the support this time around. Congratulations, Mr. ElevateDoctorL. You've earned that one.
This feels amazing, man. I mean, I think the whole team deserves this trophy because they carry me. That's at the end of the day, when you're support, they carry me. But these guys are all on the same page. Every time anything's said, we're just a cohesive unit. I think it shows when you guys spectate us. And I can't wait to see the future because we like running weird drafts. Maybe the next LAN we whip out a couple other weird picks, you know?
That was going to be one of my last questions, talking about the future. You guys are the Spring Split champions, but of course, there's summer and there's fall. Summer's bringing it to Spain, and then fall's right here for Worlds again. What's the plan? What's the idea?
The idea is to go in with practice and have more than just a Loki solo, have more in a Merc ADC, and have more in M jungle. We'll have some other picks that people are gonna. Oh, they picked that. Yeah, we picked that.
So just keep on keeping on, essentially.
Yeah.
The culture of winning is what Astral Authority has been known for. And again, congratulations to you guys. I want to introduce Dan McHugh, the commissioner of the league here. He has a trophy for some of you guys as well. Just saying,
give it to the team. They can
they
can go to it. Yeah, get at it, boys.
There it is, boys. One more time, congratulations to you and the team.
You can show the camera.
You guys have put in a fantastic amount of work, and that's going to do it for us here at the Smite SCL Spring Finals. Congratulations to Astral Authority and Elevate, who did make it to the finals. On behalf of myself, Aggro, Hinduman, Taco Anatoly, and everybody that joined us for the broadcast here, including the AVGL guys, we thank you for your presence, we thank you for your patronage, and we'll see you next week for the PC side of things at Smite Masters.